Hello, this is Marty, and I am doing the UDL principle of provide options for self-regulation, and I am also doing the three other facets of it of promote expectations and beliefs that optimize motivation, facilitate personal coping skills and strategies, and develop self-assessment and reflection. And the first thing that came into my head when I read these was the implementation of checking in and checking out. There's a lot of research on it. Um, if you haven't heard of it, it basically can be implemented within a general education classroom or a self contained classroom. One article that mentions it. Here's the URL of the article through GVSU Course Reserve. It's considered to be a Tier 2 PBIS intervention, and there is 5 steps that are implemented through it, and it is simply checking in, which is in the morning. They bring in a sheet. Oh, and I almost forgot the cost. It doesn't cost little. It literally costs little to nothing. It's basically just a piece of paper, and there you could buy a template for to use within your classroom, but it's easier to just pull up Google Sheets and make one yourself and tailor it to the way that you do. And you want to implement it for either the student or students within your classroom. My CT, when I was teacher assisting, implemented it in her 5th and 6th self-contained classroom, and she's been doing it the entire duration of her teaching within a self-contained classroom. So the 5 steps, as I mentioned before, is checking in. Basically, the student brings in their piece of paper that was signed by their parent, checking off basically that they know how their child behaved the day before. And so we receive it in the morning to know that the parents know what's going on at school. Now, they receive another piece of paper for the day to receive feedback. That is the second step, receiving feedback. And consistently throughout the day, sorry, I'm a little sick. um, Depending on how complex or simple the checking in and checking out sheet is, you would either have stickers, points, checks, crosses, anything that will add or subtract points from the student's checking in and checking out sheet. Receiving feedback would be maybe through the first 15 minutes of the day before class starts, or any other subject within the school. That could be art, gym, English, science, reading, any of the subjects. When it was implemented in the classroom that I was in, they a teacher assistant, me and another one, would monitor the students during their time in the classroom, whether they're being disruptive or staying on task or being cooperative and not talking with other students if they need to be doing something. The next one is checking out, and that's at the end of the day, and we would send the sheets home with the students, and they would take it home, which is the next step, which is the home component, and we would leave comments on the piece of paper about like what happened, if anything, if they were just disruptive during class or they needed a timeout, etc. And then the last step would be to return to school the next school day and turn in the sheet with a parent signature notifying us that they have received the progress from the day before. Here is a explanation of checking in and checking out.
Story with you. Because Check and Check Out is a program that offers similar supports for students with behavior challenges. It sets students up for success when they check in with a trusted advisor every day. It teaches students strategies to be successful and make good choices. It uses data to help students be accountable to reasonable goals. And it celebrates little successes every day when students check out. We can teach.
And so, there is different ways of implementing this in ways of it being a self-assessment. They would either fill this out after each class, or it would just be a summary of the entire day. You would hand this to them as a self-reflection period, and they would rate how they reacted throughout the day. For example, I liked what we did in class, I paid attention to the teacher, I listened. All of this, this would have to be implemented within a higher grade level, probably in high school, and this actually can be implemented from kindergarten all the way up to 12th grade. From it being simple as morning, lunchtime, and class, and the students would be rewarded stars, or all the way to complex, where it would detail every single aspect of every single class, like this right here.